it's Wednesday. It's time for the God is a Geek podcast. My name's Adam Cook, and joining me this week, Nicola Ardron.
Hello. I've been absent for a while, haven't I?
Are you poorly? Are you poorly, Pet?
I am a little bit poorly. Can you tell?
Actually, you sound fine, genuinely.
No? Oh, good. Yeah, I've been poorly for the past couple of weeks. I've been on my deathbed and everything.
Oh, God. Gary, do you believe it? Gary Bailey's here, do you believe it?
I can't follow that, really.
No, I was talking to the audience like, Gary Bailey's here. Do you believe it? Can you believe it? Gary's here. It's like, it was a bad stage entrance, I must admit. But it's my fault, not yours. How are you, Gaz?
I'm very good, thank you.
All right, so Nicola's ill. Gary's very good. I guess I'm in the middle, just to balance it out a little bit.
You're just fair to middling.
Yeah, fair to middling. Nice and cold out there today, as it is always this time of year. Hey, you ain't catching me with that time difference. It's time to talk about some video games, and a lot of them have been played, and to be fair, there's not many of them, well, I was going to say there's not many of them left to come. My inbox would tell a different story, but Nicola, you have been playing, well, a lot of shooters, but the hottest of the hot, which is...
Star Wars Battlefront II.
You didn't seem sure, and that's certainly one way to start talking about that game.
I'll tell you for why, Adam, because I've also been playing Wolfenstein, and when you
say
the hottest of the hot, I was momentarily confused.
No, fair.
Yes, I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront II, and I've got to be honest, I quite like it.
That's fair enough.
I'm pleasantly surprised by it. As you know, I went to a preview. I've been to
Twice.
2 previews, actually. Yeah, I've been to lovely Stockholm and London. And I enjoyed the preview. I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy the preview, but I felt a little bit anxious about what the campaign was going to be like. And I'm pleased to report that anxiety was unfounded. I actually genuinely really enjoyed the campaign. It felt like a nice little sort of appetizer, really. It sits in terms of timeline between the end of The Last Jedi and...
The new one?
Yeah. No, not The Last Jedi, sorry. Return of the Jedi. God. Return of the Jedi.
The original one, but sixth chronologically.
Yeah, so it fits in between that and The Force Awakens, so we get to see kind of what happens a little bit.
That's a big gap, right?
It is a big gap. It is a big gap, and it doesn't cover that entire period.
No.
It covers the period immediately after the events on Endor. And you kind of get to see a little bit about what's going on with the Empire after the Death Star's been blown up and the Emperor's been killed and this, that and the other. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's quite amusing in places as well. Some of the dialogue genuinely made me laugh out loud.
Didn't expect
there's a few little bits on that's just really fun. Just, that kind of snappy... quick fire kind of banter between characters. I know people are probably going to be groaning and rolling their eyes at the idea of banter, but it works really well. It works really well. The characters are really charismatic. I really liked Iden Versio, who is the sort of main character that we follow. I really liked her.
Is that the woman? I forget her surname. Is it Javinkar or something?
Yeah.
Is that who you're playing?
Yes. Yes. Well, you do play as other people as well, but I won't go into that.
No,
spoilery. But yeah, you do get to play as a couple of other people, and it's a lot of fun. It feels very much, and I guess people's mileage with this will vary, but it feels very much like a kind of Star Wars greatest hits.
Right.
You've always wanted to do this in Star Wars, or the dream was to do that, so here we are, we're going to let you do that.
Hang on, Gary, you're a Star Wars fan, right?
Yeah.
What have you always wanted to do in a Star Wars game? Let's test this theory.
Well, I don't know if mine will be on there, because mine is I want to be General Grievous.
I don't think you can even answer that,
of course it won't be, because the timeline's wrong, Gary.
Exactly.
Are you listening?
Come on, Gary,
Are you listening, man?
But what would you want to do in a game, though, if you were playing? I think that's what Nick means, isn't it?
It'd be stuff like flying TIE fighters, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
There you go. See, theory proven. Let's not test it. It's not watertight. Let's not. But I mean, you hoped for it, like, because I'm in. I'll play it. I will, and I do like Star Wars, but I'm not like Chris isn't here this week, but I know he's a massive Star Wars fan. I'm not that. I do like Star Wars. I don't know where. I know Nick is as well. I don't know where you are, Gary, in terms of Star Wars.
I definitely want to play it. I just don't know whether I can get it at the start or not. But I definitely want to play it. The last one was all right, but with it being online only, it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But this one, the campaign, I definitely want to try that out, and I like the idea of playing as basically the Empire.
But are you okay with? Because I mean, I'm gonna put my name on the line here and guess that the campaign is between 5 and 8 hours long.
Yeah, it's not very long.
But you see, you say that, Nick, I don't want to like put words in yours or Gary's mouth here, but I'm fine with that.
No, I'm absolutely fine, and it's a perfect length. In fairness, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's nice little bite-sized chunks. Each, there's like little episodes in it, if you like, chapters, and each one of those is just the right kind of length. It gives you a variety of things to do. The action, it moves on very quickly. It's a sort of, the whole pace of the thing is quite quick. I only played it on the default difficulty because when I'm reviewing, I want to make sure that I can get through the story as quickly as possible. I'm going to say normal is it's a shooting gallery. And I'd be interested to see how much more difficult it is on the harder difficulties. But then having said that, it's pure power fantasy, this campaign. And it kind of fits a little bit. The fact that you're just ploughing through these enemies, it, on one hand, is a bit of a negative because, you are just literally ploughing through. But on the other hand, you're supposed to be this kind of elite soldier, and narratively it kind of does make sense that you are powering through them, to be fair. I mean, there is some strategy involved, there is a little bit of having to duck back and pick enemies off and what have you, but I mean, ultimately this is Star Wars power fantasy, and it does it quite well.
Are you always like on your own or part of a team, or is it mixed?
It's mixed. Even when you are part of a team, when you're, your Inferno squad cronies are with you, you can't really direct them. They're just sort of radio chatter, and sort of filling in bits of narrative. So you can't control them. They're not a squad that you can sort of send off and go and cover that flank or anything like that. They're just there. And, sometimes you're on your own, doing like a kind of stealthy thing. Sometimes you've got only one with you. Sometimes you've got two with you, that kind of thing. So it switches it up a fair bit, to be fair.
But you mentioned about like, how it seemed a bit easy on default. Like, the one thing I remember about Battlefront, I think you got to be careful, but I want to say the first Battlefront. I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't. We all know it wasn't, but for all intents and purposes, to most people, they'll consider like this Battlefront 2, it's the second Battlefront. Again, we know it isn't. But with that in mind, the first Battlefront, the thing I remember most fondly about it, and it wasn't that long ago, but I'm getting old and my memory's not as good, is that I actually think it was a tremendously accessible game. And I say that because like my kids like their games, but at that time my youngest was just getting into shooters and stuff, and obviously I'm not going to let him play Call of Duty, and I'm not going to let him play Gears of War or something, but he did ask to play Star Wars, and he did well in it, and now he smashes me and everyone, he just destroys people in Overwatch now. It's like, that kid on the end of the line on the internet who's just better than you and makes you want to kill him. That's my son now. But with Battlefront, like, he would get kills. It didn't feel like it had... I don't really want to say this, but it kind of is. It never felt like it had this real high skill barrier in the way that, and we'll talk probably more about this today, Call of Duty does. Like Battlefront feels like a pick up and play game. I'm not going to say you give it to your granny and she'd go, oh yeah, I get shooters, because they wouldn't get on with the controls. But it feels accessible.
Yeah, and that's right.
If they've retained that, then that maybe feels like it's extending into this campaign, does it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy, actually. I do think that the campaign is very accessible. It's not a difficult shooter. And bearing in mind, as I've already mentioned, I've come off the back of Wolfenstein, which is a very difficult
Holy
shooter.
shit, is that a difficult shooter?
So, it isn't going to be winning any prizes for that. But there again, I don't think that that's what it's for. It's like a classic. I mean, this is your blockbuster video game.
I mean, it's Star Wars,
well.
Nick.
Exactly.
It's a Star Wars product. It's going to be designed for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is very clear because it isn't very difficult. But there again, I say that I am somebody who plays a lot of shooters. In terms of me really understand, for me it's not very difficult, but I don't know what it would be like for somebody who doesn't really play shooters but they love Star Wars and they want to play this. I don't really know because I play a lot of shooters, so in terms of that I found it quite straightforward, but I don't think it's a negative, as I say, because it fits with what you are actually doing in the campaign. And this idea that excuse me a second. Sorry. This idea that Star Wars, the first sort of Battlefront from 2 years ago, was meant to be accessible. That kind of does continue in this. In terms of the multiplayer, they have added some more complexity to the multiplayer, which...
Loot boxes, you mean?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
no,
I had to say, because everyone's going to... Yeah, go on, get into it.
Again, I think mileage is going to vary on this. Because...
let me put it to you this way. I've seen a Reddit post that discusses that someone has worked out how many hours of gameplay you have to put in to unlock one hero, and it's a lot. But you've actually played it. So,
yeah.
You know...
So... I played the campaign, and you get credits for playing the campaign. You get a lot of credits for playing the campaign, to be fair.
Right, I didn't know that.
And, there's milestones in the campaign that will also give you loot crates. Like, let's say you find all of the collectibles in one chapter. That will give you a loot crate. So there's things to do in the campaign that will give you a loot crate. Now, at the end of the campaign, I had tens of thousands of credits. Of which, I could use to buy a hero if I wanted one, or I could use to buy several loot boxes. So I did a mixture of the two. And I actually bought Iden for, I was like, I've got enough here to buy Iden. So I bought her, and I also purchased a few loot boxes. And I've still got like maybe 10,000 credits. I've been playing the multiplayer. I've played maybe 5 or 6 hours of the multiplayer now. And you earn credits at a reasonable rate. And again, I'm going to stress here, mileage may vary on this because I'm not somebody who feels like they need to have everything.
Yeah.
I don't really care. But I do have an issue with loot boxes because I do feel like they've been tweaked in a way that will appeal to people who perhaps have poor impulse control or, have that sort of maybe a gambling kind of, that kind of person. And I'm not that kind of person, but I do feel that they can be exploitative, these things.
100%.
I mean, I have a friend, for example, who he feels like he has to have everything. And I always remember with Gears of War, I think it was 3, he spent so much money buying things off eBay and all sorts just to get the skins for weapons.
Might have been 3. 4 had that too. It had that weird thing where you got, it was like cards that you could trade in and break down, and it was really weird.
This was a few years ago because I think he got really fed up with 4, and one of the reasons was because of the way that the loot stuff
Microsoft
worked.
did that for a while. Well, they actually still are now. I think about it with Forza, but they did that where every game had those kind of card packs because Halo had it, Gears had it, and I want to say there's another game, but Forza 7 has that
too, as well.
Yeah,
Halo Wars 2 does.
There was the whole multiplayer based around those cards.
Yeah,
that's right. Oh, there's
so
another
like
one I'm really forgetting.
I think people's animosity towards these is going to vary. For me personally, they're not an issue. And I'll say again, excuse me again, I've got this bloody cough that just it gets me. So I bought Iden, right, and I've been playing online, and I've only managed to accrue enough battle points once to actually be able to call her in.
Okay.
So, so the person who's saying you need X amount of credits to buy, I don't know, Luke Skywalker, the chances are of you being able to get Luke Skywalker in a game anyway to accrue enough battle points to use him. Pardon?
How does it work? So you say like battle points. Is it like a perk then? Like if you earn enough, you can press up in the D-pad or something?
Kind of. Yeah, it's like a score streak, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Do you know what
weird.
it reminds me of? You played Halo 5, didn't you? That Warzone mode where you're attacking or defending a point, and for every action that you do, you earn some points, and then you can spend those points on maybe calling in a ghost, or you can call in a scorpion tank or whatever.
That's right.
It kind of works like that.
Okay.
So every action that you do, maybe you're playing the objective, that'll score you maybe 100 points. You get a kill, that'll score you maybe 150 points. You get an assist, that'll score you some points. And these battle points accrue throughout the course of the match, and you can then spend them on reinforcements, upgrades, whatever. And there's various tiers of them, so you get a certain amount of battle points and you can call in a battle droid, and you are the battle droid who's got slightly more health, maybe a rocket launcher, it's got slightly different loadout, or you can call in a vehicle. As soon as you obviously spend those points, they get taken off your tally and you've got to build them up again. Well, the really strong heroes, like Luke or whatever, are a significant amount of battle points. For example, I think to call Iden in, I think it's maybe 8,000 battle points, which doesn't sound like a great deal. However, even on a game like Galactic Assault, which might take some time because it's the huge, multi-stage mode that's 40 plus players. When I first started playing, I was only getting a few kills, so I wasn't accruing enough points to buy her, to use her on the field. And I was getting really excited, like I'd be going, oh my goodness, I only need like 600 more points and I'll be able to use it. And then the game ends and you're like, no, I've saved them up this whole match.
Well, and
I've not even been able to use her.
That's a shame, because the first one, they were just like collectibles, weren't they? It's like whoever got the collectible got to play as whatever.
Yes.
I assume there are modes that you do that are like hero modes, though, right? There must be, Gary.
There's a heroes versus villains mode.
Yeah, I assume that there are modes where you don't have to do something special to get the hero. Like, what was the heroes versus villains where one person on each team started as one?
That was in the first game. In this one, everybody's a hero or a villain. And it's like an assassination mode, so the clock will count down, and somebody on the team will be highlighted. So somebody on the villains team, somebody on the heroes team, and you have to kill that person before your person is killed. Like Guardian on Gears of War, for example. And there's tickets. So let's say you've got to do that 10 times, and that's how you win. The thing is with heroes and villains. I've played a game on that, and I was on the villains team. I only have 2 unlocked. I have Bubsy and
oh wait,
hang
on. So you're saying there aren't like say 4 or 5 unlocked to begin with?
Nah.
Not any unlocked. So what happens if you don't choose?
There are some that are just unlocked. Like, for example, I haven't bought Bubsy or anything like that. I think Bubsy is just one that is a standard unlock.
Okay.
But when I went to play that mode, people were playing as Rey and Darth Maul and a few others, but I only had Bubsy and I can't remember the other one. Because I've literally only just played it before I came on the pod as well. That's how good my memory is. I really pay attention to things, Adam. But I wanted to play as Bubsy because he's got quite a cool setup. But see, I'm saying all this and it sounds really negative, but it's no different to, like, let's say playing Call of Duty and you need to be level 40 to unlock
a gun,
a weapon.
Yeah, okay.
It's not really that different to that.
But it's like if you buy a Call of Duty, you're buying it and you know what Call of Duty is. Like you mentioned with Star Wars, and I said the same. Like it's appealing to a very broad audience. It seems like an odd. I haven't played it. I'm not sure if this is what it is happening, but it sounds odd that you would gate very popular characters that say kids or people who buy 4 or 5 games a year, but they love Star Wars, that they would really want to have fun playing as Luke or even Darth Maul, whatever, that they then can't because they can't get the unlocks to unlock the points to unlock them, right?
Yeah, but again, that's no different to, say, playing Call of Duty and wanting the top tier score streak that you need to go, 15 kills without dying before you unlock it.
But I just think the people who play Call of Duty know that, they're in for that, they know that's how it works.
True.
Whereas my kid might play Star Wars and then not go, oh, hang on, so I've got to play I've got to do X amount of hours to get this amount of points to unlock Luke. Do you know what I mean? Luke's an example. I don't know. It just seems a slight. I get that it's no different, but I feel like the difference is the property. If you know what I mean, like it isn't Call of Duty. It's Star Wars. It feels like I know they got to monetize and they got to keep people playing. I mean, I'm guessing this is in theory to because that was the thing. And that is the thing, in fact, that EA sort of like DICE and Respawn have had problems with, like keeping player retention, and I guess they have to do something.
Yeah.
Because this is another game without a season pass, isn't it? If I remember,
it is indeed, because they obviously they put a season pass on the first game, and I reviewed I think all of the DLC.
I think you did, yeah.
And each time I reviewed it, I was just the sort of glaring thing was I do not understand why they've split up the player base, because if somebody hadn't bought the Outer Rim DLC, then the only way you could play the maps for the Outer Rim was to actually go into a specific Outer Rim playlist. Yeah. And it's like, well, you're basically narrowing down the game now. So you've got the main game, which is one playlist, and then each DLC is a separate playlist on its own. You've split the player base. I think
Gears was quite smart about how they did that, because basically the map rotation, no matter what map it was, even if it was a new map, you could play it. Yeah. And it was just a case of if you want to play it privately with your mates, then you've got to buy it. And I think that was a smart way, because it meant that you never had this situation where you're sort of you never had this situation where you're forcing people off into a separate playlist who own pack 1, 3, and 5. And I mean, does this have horde mode at all? Is it because you got your single player?
It's got an arcade mode, which is. It's not really arcade. It's not really horde. It's
what I get. Well, not necessarily horde. What I mean is, so you've got your campaign, you've got your multiplayer. Is there any part of the game that you can play with friends, but you don't want to perhaps be in a competitive match against someone else?
No, you can play arcade split screen co-op. You can't play
because they had horde in the last one. They added it, I think.
I think it was
can't
like,
play it co-op.
Survival mode, I think it was, and then
is that it? Yeah.
they added in like other game modes into the split
I'm not gonna lie,
playing against bots and stuff.
That's a bit disappointing to hear that the choice are multiplayer, competitive, or campaign. Like, that's given that they added it. Like, even Titanfall 2 added the sort of horde mode, didn't it? Like
but that was nearly sort of 8 months after release. I mean, who knows what the DLC schedule's going to bring in. At the moment, no. Arcade, I think, is going to be a bit contentious with folk, because they gate how much progress you can do in arcade, because you can also accrue credits and crates and stuff from doing that. So they gate that. You have a sort of daily limit, which is obviously designed to try and protect the economy in the multiplayer. I haven't fiddled about too much with arcade to really form an opinion. I mean, like I said, in terms of the loot crate stuff, I don't really care. I know that's probably sounds really bad and dismissive, but I'm not interested in owning everything, and I'm happy to grind it out because I'm tight, and that's just what I do.
Well, if you're enjoying it though as well, like, as long as you're enjoying it, then I don't see it's when I don't like loot crates, but the problem I have with them is in a game like, I said this before, NBA 2K18, where the game has been very clearly designed to be harder if you don't go down that route. Like that game specifically, like the idea in that game is you start at like a level 60 player, and the aim is to get to 99, but like 5 matches and you might not have gone up a single level. Like it's been designed, it's been tweaked to make you think, well, it would be quicker if I just bought this. That is the most egregious example.
Right.
Like most games, even if they are designed that way, aren't so blatant about it. Like, the Shadow War thing, like even this, but they don't bother me unless obviously they bother me on a moral level.
Yeah.
But as a person sitting here enjoying a video game, they bother me when they're like that. Otherwise, I kind of just ignore them. If I was playing a game and this week and I've got a loot pack, I just open it. It's a bit like the Overwatch thing of like at first they're exciting and then eventually you're like, well, I've got 4, I better open them. If I open 4 at once, I've got a higher chance of a legend. They just, I get it, I get the uproar, but like also most games kind of not even pay attention.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And it's kind of ignoring the fact... Gosh, dear, sorry. It's kind of ignoring the fact that the 4 basic classes you have are actually really very good. All this chat about, I can't be Luke, or I can't, do this, that, and the other. The actual core classes are very good. I've played as all of them, and I like them all. They've all got their own unique sort of abilities that I like. Different guns to unlock. I'm having fun as it stands, just being, just being heavy class, for example, and earning enough points to purchase a low level vehicle that I pooned with earlier on and cackled with glee. So there's enough fun there. I know. I really was cackling as well. Because I played a game of Starfighter Assault, which is the aerial battle stuff, which has been significantly tweaked from the first game.
Okay, good.
When I played it in preview, I was like, my God, this is not the mode for me. I'm dreadful. I've turned into a secret menace at it.
Phantom Menace.
Indeed. My God, is that fun. Oh dear, is that fun. And I used to like the old Fighter Squadron. I thought that was really good. And one of the reasons I liked it is because it had such streamlined controls. It didn't really rely on me having to be like a Top Gun to be able to do it. The controls are a little more complex, and you have classes, 3 classes of vehicles. But oh my goodness, is it fun. It's so much fun that when I get the opportunity to fly on a galactic assault map, which is, boots on the ground kind of stuff, if I unlock enough battle points to get a vehicle that flies, oh my God, you better believe I'm going on it. I'm just tearing it up in the skies, which I never do. I'm dreadful at flying normally. But something's just clicked with me on this, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I mean, I was cackling.
Well, I'm not going to lie. You've kind of got me excited for this, Gary. I don't know where you were before and where you sit now, but Nicola's kind of got me excited about this.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more. Initially, when you were talking about the new setup for like the heroes and stuff, it was like not so sure. But the vehicles, I mean, in the first one, I couldn't do anything with them.
Same. In any game, to be honest with you, like any Battlefieldy kind of game.
Yeah, so it's nice to hear that they might be a little bit more accessible, a little bit more fun to drive and fly.
They got Criterion. In specifically.
Wow, really?
It's Criterion's work. All of the space battle stuff. Yeah. All of that aerial assault stuff is specifically Criterion. The other stuff is DICE, and then of course the campaign's EA Motive. So there's been 3 dev teams on this game. And actually thinking about that, now I've said that out loud, it's pretty seamless how it all stitches together, bearing in mind there's 3 separate teams on it.
Well,
I'm quite proud. I've taught myself into this game.
You have, kind of, yeah. I mean, we should say, like, obviously go to godasgeek.com and you can read Nicola's review, and if you've heard this and it's not gone up, then I've spectacularly messed up. So hopefully that doesn't. What else have you been playing? I mean, I know obviously because we have a list here, but you have been very shootery. What else is on your list? I've been
shooting fools to the face a lot.
Right in the face.
I've been playing the new Call of Duty. which I've been enjoying after being underwhelmed by the beta.
And now what, are you whelmed?
I've been warmed up.
Are you still shooting your friends though?
Oh dear, yeah, that was bad,
I like
wasn't it?
that bit. That's quite. I know it's a very simple thing, and everyone's sort of like saying, "Oh, it's just the Destiny 2, just the Destiny towers." Yeah, but like HQ where you can do the 1v1s is. I quite like that. I think it's quite cool. I don't know about you.
I'm not a big fan.
Really?
Have you seen that little video I did?
I saw that you were shooting someone, but you're always shooting someone. So,
well, I've got a particular gaming pal that I play Call of Duty with.
All right.
And I mean, I play with my gaming husband on it as well, but he isn't quite as into it. But I've got another friend, actually my oldest gaming friend, Byron or Byron, and. We play. That's who I play Call of Duty with all throughout the year, basically, because he buys it every year and bullies me into getting it or whatever. And it turns out this year I've bullied him into getting it.
Gotcha.
So we play hardcore normally.
Oh.
And he was busy telling me about that Friendly Fire was on and. He accidentally killed somebody the day before because they walked in front of him, literally as I just shot him in the head because he walked in front of me.
It's a good game though, right? It's a good game.
I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it.
It's not amazing.
No, I've not played much of the campaign. I've only maybe played 2-3 missions. I've enjoyed what I've played so far.
Yeah, it's good.
It's.
Do you know what I said last week? I don't know if I'm interested to see if you agree with me. I quite enjoyed the kind of back to basics nature. Like it was nice.
Yeah.
It feels like a nice diversion to go back to a game where you don't need wall running. And don't get me wrong, love it. Still love Titanfall 2. Still think that's the best shooter of the last God knows how many years. Well, multiplayer. But it's kind of nice to go back to a simplistic shooter.
Yeah.
My only thing is I don't know where they go from here. I don't think they can do another one, and they can't compete with the quality of a Titanfall 2 in terms of the. So I don't know what they do. Like, I just don't know where this series is going to go. It kind of needs a year off, but it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. No. I mean, online, I'm quite enjoying it. I was, like I say, I was underwhelmed. And in particular, I've been enjoying that war mode, which is the attack and defend,
much.
which again, I absolutely was like, oh, this is awful. It doesn't fit cards.
Really?
It's dreadful in the beta. But now I've really been enjoying it.
I think it's
been
fantastic.
a lot
It's my
of
favourite
fun.
mode, I think.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time with it. In fact, I'd say the majority of my time playing the multiplayer so far has been in the war mode because it feels like a space where you can experiment a little bit.
Yeah.
I've tried all the different divisions. I've messed about with the training, the basic training banners to see what I like, which guns I particularly like, which LMG is the best one for me. I've even been sniping, which is an absolute, and oh my God, I'm just loving sniping. I'm cackling again with the sniping because it is ridiculously easy to snipe in this game.
Don't you think it's interesting that probably one of the best modes in the new Call of Duty is the one that's most like Battlefield?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is, isn't it? There's no question this is Battlefield all over, isn't it?
I mean, it is frustrating if I'm playing it on my own. It is frustrating.
Oh, God,
because I'm playing
Jesus Christ.
a Battlefield mode with a load of Call of Duty players.
It's literally
and it's like,
that joke.
I am screaming down my mic, which is muted.
No, I know what you mean. Because I used to joke about this with Battlefield. Like, you start playing a Battlefield, and all the Call of Duty players would jump on because it's a new game, and you'd be like, "For fuck's sake, this is a team game. This is a team. It's really important that you play as a squad." But then eventually they would drop off for the new Call of Duty, and it would go back to being Battlefield how it's supposed to be. But this is actually a Call of Duty game, so it's like you can't be cross at these people because it is Call of Duty. But this mode, it's because the thing I like about it is that you don't necessarily have to play it. Like in Call of Duty, basically, a lot of it online is about if you see them first, it's about your reactions and your eyesight. And if you see them first, you will win that fight. You will, and 90% of the time or more. But this mode, it feels like actually you can do other things. You can you get the barricades up and stuff. You can. It's more than just I was seen first, so I'm dead. And it's weird in a Call of Duty game. That is really weird.
It sounds a bit like the zombies, because you have like the barricade and stuff in that, don't you? So it's maybe like
well, no, you don't. I don't think this barricading is in the new zombies.
No,
that's the
not.
weird thing. Because I was running up to Windows. You do the tutorial and it teaches you the basics, and it's like, wow, it's really weird. They've forgotten to show you how to put, boards up in the Windows. So then I started a multiplayer match, and I was like, it's not working. And then I realised that's gone. So like, it's kind of weird. The whole game's weird, but I dig it.
I've even been enjoying zombies.
Yeah, but then that's more RPG-like, don't you think?
Yeah, I've even been enjoying that.
I think there's some cool stuff in there. Like, I put it in a review I wrote elsewhere that, like, one of the cool things is you can be a medic, and, like, the medic's skill is that if you press the bumpers together, you go invisible. So if you two are down, I run up to that person, click invisible, and I can get you up. Whereas previously, you'd be like, well, I have to clear in a space, get to them, hope I can get them up before the zombies are on me, otherwise I'm down by the time they're up, and it's basically over. In this, you can go invisible, and the zombies will just walk past you, and it's just really, it's RPG like, it's really cool.
Yeah, I've played maybe 4 or 5 games of that, and I don't normally touch it, but I've been enjoying it. I've even been matchmaking in with randoms, and we got to I think got to like level wave 24 or something.
See,
and I was
the only problem with that is, again, I don't want to be down on the people who play Call of Duty, but but like there are things you're supposed to do that aren't just get through the waves. Like, there are missions that let you progress down the story, and like one of them, I think there was like I'm trying to remember last time I played it, it took an hour and a half, and I was like, I really want to see where this goes, and I think it was like press 2 switches at the same time, and nobody would do it, and I was just there, I was like, I'm going to quit out because it's been on the screen now for an hour. Please,
I've been in one match
have
like
mercy.
that, but most of them
stressful.
Has been, everybody's been sort of moving towards completing the milestones.
Yeah. It's a good game. It is a good game. It's like that's 2 for 2 on shooters. Like, should we? I know what the third shooter is, and I know the answer, but dare I ask what the third shooter or the third thing he's been playing this week is, and is it any good? He says, not knowing for sure.
Which game are you talking about, Adam? Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Oof.
Exactly. That's exactly the noise.
Oh dear.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's a good game.
Oh, it could just be a podcast of us just making noises about that game, because fucking hell.
It's really good, isn't it, Adam?
Does it go some places? So, do you know the funny thing, right? And if you'd have told me a year ago, right, the best character in a video game in 2017 is going to be BJ Blazkowicz, I'd have just gone, fuck off. This game is incredible. Like, it goes places I don't think any game's ever gone. And I said it in our Slack channel. We can't spoil it. I do think we should maybe even do a spoiler cast when more people have played it. But like, this game, I think it's important. I think the social commentary, I think the narrative for a game, it's really important. Like, it says stuff.
Was it intentional, or is it just like?
Oh god, it's intentional.
Absolutely.
It's 100% intentional. Like,
no, I mean, like, is it more like times now of kind of just?
They got lucky, I think,
yeah.
Because there's no possible way they could have changed it to be, well, shit, we better talk about Nazis now. There's no way they could. They Machine Games have got. It's like a moment in time. This game has been released at a time when more people than ever are politically motivated or aware, and it's hit at the perfect time. And the most depressing thing is that while Bethesda are now getting codes out for games a bit in advance, this feels like one, if they just got this out a week in advance and everyone had reviewed it, it would have got praise out the ass, it would have sold better, it deserves so much. The thing is, Nick, if I said to you, oh, you know that bit where, like, I could be describing probably 8 moments in that game, like, it is just full of things. I nearly spoiled it then. I had to stop myself. Like, it delivers on every promise it sets out on. Every promise it delivers on. Like, there was a character that I wasn't that keen on, and there was one that I felt like was being a bit bullied, and I can say she, that's not a spoiler. And I was wondering, thinking, this almost feels out of character, because this game feels like it's about fighting back, being the downtrodden and fighting back and saying, fuck you, no. And this character gets that moment, and that's my favourite bit of the game. And, well, maybe it is. I don't know. I mean,
There's so many bits, though,
it's
isn't
just
there?
full of them, innit?
Yeah, there's so many bits. I mean, I do have some issues in terms of it, the way it plays.
So I 100% agree. Yep.
I think that hopefully they can patch, or, yeah, maybe patch this in. The biggest issue I have is that the feedback on taking damage
dreadful.
is minimal. I mean, in fact, negligible.
I don't
there
think
isn't
there's
any
anything.
feedback at all.
No, I don't think so.
I think it was you said in the Slack chat, didn't you? For a game that is pure power fantasy, it feels wrong that even on the lower difficulty levels, it's a rock hard game. I mean,
It's
it is
brutal.
really tough. I played again. I played it for review, didn't I? And again, I played it on the default difficulty, and there are some incredibly difficult bits in it where the difficulty level spikes really strangely at key points, and I don't really understand why. It feels a little bit like the balancing is a bit off in it, in fairness, bearing in mind I think the default difficulty is maybe the second or the third one up.
Yeah, I think
and there's something like
it's a
8.
second.
There's something like 7 or 8 difficulty levels. It feels a little bit rough that even on default, and again, I'm a seasoned shooter.
Same.
There were bits where I really struggled. I mean, the
So I bumped it
courthouse
down,
was
Nick.
one particular
Oh, the
area.
courthouse. If I had that a third of the way through, I realised, look, I'm not reviewing this. I'm not even writing about this, and I am absolutely loving every part of the story. But I'm not enjoying the game because I'm dying far too often. And it's not me being shit. It's the fact that unless you're staring at that figure that says how much health you've got, you just don't know if you're being hit. And it's almost a case of you kind of have to just assume you're always being hit. The game wants you to never stop moving, a bit like Doom, but it's not as good as Doom. And so
you've got no way of recovering health. At least in Doom,
no, that's right.
You could do a glory kill, and it would pump everything out, and you were guaranteed to increase your health. With this game, you actually have to go around and click a button to pick up health. Everything else you can just kind of walk over. And collect armor and ammo and all this, that, and the other. But with health, for some reason, you have to specifically click it. And when you're under, when you're under a bit of stress, because it's like just throwing waves of enemies at you, it's easy to miss it, or you're so busy focused on trying to collect that bit of health that you've actually taken more damage than you thought you were taking. It is a bit. The balancing's wrong, I think.
Well, I put it on easy. I'm not ashamed to say it because I wanted to enjoy it. I was thinking about it. I was going to say something like, "Oh, it's the first game in 10 years I've played on the easiest difficulty." And I actually thinking about it, I don't think I've ever played a game on the easiest difficulty. And that's not me being I'm the hard game man. Not at all. I've considered myself half decent at games, but I don't consider myself a genius at them. But I would never really play on easy. But I found when I did switch it to easy, the game was just fun. It felt like the power fantasy that it certainly in my head felt like it was supposed to be. This game is a game that why the hell do they even let you aim down sights? It doesn't. That's not what this game is. This game is dual wield. I was like a shotgun in the right hand and a machine pistol or something in the left hand. But you sort of talk about things to be patched. Another thing I'd like to be patched in. I thought you press down on the D-pad to get your objective marker up. I think that's dreadful. One of the worst objective markers I've ever seen because it's white and it sort of points you to one way, but by the time you've turned around to see how far it is or where it is, it's already vanished. So I found I was constantly pressing down on the D-pad. I'm constantly hammering X to pick up health or anything that's near me, and that sounds like I'm saying it's a bad game. It's a fan. I mean, this is a Game of the Year contender. I don't know that it would win it for me, but the story alone is just. I can't wait for the Game of the Year podcast so we can actually spoil this game and talk about it because there are some moments in there that are just astonishing and I'm sure they wouldn't do this, but I fucking pray to God it gets that third part because it's set up. I mean, it's set up. It's now, and I don't know, like I loved it. I genuinely loved it. It took me about 12 hours, but that's 10 hours, sorry, but that's because I bumped the difficulty down. I didn't collect a load of stuff. I didn't bother with any side missions. I didn't feel I needed to. I mean, I could, but I never felt like I wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, like the perks and all that. Like I always felt like that was a system that was designed at one point to be like you can unlock stuff, but it just ends up being kind of irrelevant. Like it didn't. Yeah. None of that really played into it for me. It ended up being a game where you just like you pull out 2 guns, you shoot everything that moves, you maybe collect some stuff, but you're in it for the story and the gameplay, and that's fine because there are games like like Gone Home that are all story, but this puts in a competent shooter, but the story, my God. Yeah. I don't think there's another story comes close, and I can't think of one in a long time actually. It's absurd.
Yeah, the voice acting is incredible in it as well, isn't it?
So I believe that there was not just, obviously, you get voice actors in a studio and they read their lines. I believe this game had voice direction, and my God, does that show. Yeah. Like, the difference when you're getting people directed, like, every line of dialogue is meticulously done. Mm-hmm. Like, the voices are good. Everyone's important. Like there are just incidental things that stop you when you're on the submarine, your base, that you listen to their conversations, and they all feel dynamic, they all feel unique, they all feel important. Everyone feels like they matter in this little sort of revolution that's happening. And
can I ask, which of the 2 did you save?
Fergus.
So you got that long form joke that took all games.
I just like he's great. Like I think in the original game I actually saved the other guy because I think it was almost like the parent in me, like no, he's had a life, that bloke, he's lived, so save the young kid, let the young. Yeah. But at the beginning of this game, I think I was like, well, Fergus seems like the guy I want to spend time with. He's terrific. He's terrific. Like that arc, he's got an arc, and I don't know. I suppose I wonder the other guy must have, but I imagine most people pick Fergus.
Yeah, I think so too. But that joke that starts early on and you finally get the punchline to it right at the end just had me howling. Proper belly laugh when it happened.
Oh. It's like, how often I think I'm guilty of saying this, like it's like Game X is funny, video game funny, but like this game is funny. This game is emotional. It's heartfelt. It's rousing. It's a political statement. They may perhaps distance themselves because they're a big company, but this 100% is a political statement. It's important. It is social commentary. It's highest level in a way. It really does sort of stir the loins a bit and make you want to stand up and say, "Now, this damn right. We're not taking this. We're not taking this anymore because we are." Stronger. We are stronger, even though there's less of us. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. I don't know. It's just, I tell you what, it looks good on the Xbox One X as well. There you go. Like that game's been patched and looks phenomenal. I don't want to talk too much Xbox One X because I did that a lot last week, but it's definitely the strongest, most powerful console. I think I said that last week. It is. There's no question. It's nice playing games on that thing. It's nice playing games on an Xbox and not having to be like, oh, no, I'm playing the worst version of this game. Like, now it's quite nice for a change to be on the Xbox and know I'm playing a good version of a video game,
Yeah.
Has the Quantum Break patch finally downloaded?
Yeah. No, I did play that, but yeah, there's still, like, every now and again there's a patch. I've got Hitman to look at that apparently is supposed to be really well done for the Xbox One X, and there's still games coming down the pike. And yet I'm still no closer to putting a score on that review because it's just such a... I don't know, it's a fantastic product, but it's...
Can you really score a console?
Well, I have, and that's the thing. I think I'm worried I gave the Pro a 9.
Right.
And this is better.
Well,
this is better.
It's got to be a 9.5 then, Adam,
surely. That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. That's the concerning thing. I have actually, I should say, I just briefly mentioned, because this will be like my Horizon update. I mentioned you were playing Horizon a bit recently, Nick, and it reminded me I still haven't finished that game. That's the thing. So Zelda came out and broke me, and I sat down and I was thinking, I don't think I gave that game a fair shout because, like, Zelda came along, I was reviewing Zelda, so it took over, whereas I was just playing Horizon for fun, and I was a bit worried that I knew I had about 8 or 9 hours on the game, so I went back thinking this is going to be tough because open world games, and bear in mind the last time I played it was February, so games like that are difficult to get back into. Horizon's not.
No,
I had
not
to look
at all.
at the controls a bit. It's easy to get back into. I started going through it last night, 2.5 hours of absolute. Just what a brilliant game that is. Like
It's great, isn't it?
Something's clicked about it. I don't know what it is, but something about it has clicked. And I think I was sat there like thinking, well, I finished Wolfenstein. I'm either going to start Assassin's Creed or I'm going to go and find something else to do. Or I was going to think about playing Need for Speed Payback, and then I looked at Horizon. I was like, even if it's just to get it off my hard drive, I should finish this, and I went into it and I was like, you know what, I think Horizon's the game I'm going to be playing for the next couple of weeks,
It's great. I've recently finished it in the last week.
Is it long? Not that I'm worried, because I say I'm back in, but I'm
Don't
at
ask
about
me, Adam. 70 hours.
Oh my.
70 hours.
Wow.
But in my defence, I've taken a lot of photographs.
Yeah, it's probably half of that is probably just photo mode, isn't it?
I do not have the patience for I just when I finished last night, I thought, I wonder if I just get a nice picture for tweeting out, and I went into photo mode. I was like, I cannot be bothered with this. Like, you have the patience of a saint.
Love it. I love it. I'm doing the same in Assassin's Creed.
I've seen you made that game look good. They should hire you.
I've been doing that. Thanks very much, Adam. Thank you.
That's great marketing.
I've been doing the same in Assassin's Creed. I've probably played about 20 hours of Assassin's Creed, and I've hardly touched the story. It's just taking photographs. I don't know what it is. I just love doing it. I absolutely love photo mode in games. I adore it. And Horizon has one of the best.
Yes, that's the thing. It has so many options. I was like,
it's good, and like I say, it's 70 hours I've spent in Horizon. But do you know, thinking about it, a lot of it has been taking photographs, but most of it has been, I just like the world. The world is so beautiful. I've just enjoyed being in the world and like not really doing anything, just like, I don't know, taking down a Thunderjaw or...
Is that the crocodile?
No, that's a Snapmaw.
Okay, because I encountered them for the first time last night, and that was incredible. It was an incredible fight, like skin of my arse, and it was just like, wow, this game's pretty all right. You know what I mean? It's pretty good.
It's on my Game of the Year list, and I've been mulling really about which...
Well, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
No. But you know, it's got to be on my list. It's got to be on my list because I've just spent so many hours with it, and I got the platinum trophy for it, and that's only the second game I've done that for. The first one was Life is Strange, and I got that by default, really, because you just have to play it, to be honest. So it's really the first platinum that I've actually deliberately gone out and done everything for, because I've just enjoyed being in it so much. And I've even toyed with getting the DLC, which is a bit of a surprise because I normally don't bother with DLC. Or I wait.
No, but if it keeps you in a world you enjoy.
Yeah, or I wait significantly until the price reduces. But I'm debating on picking it up because I've just enjoyed it so much, and I absolutely adore Aloy as a character. I think she's marvellous, and I've taken a lot of photographs of her.
I bet you have, yeah. All different outfits, yeah.
A lot of photographs of Aloy because I just think that she's wonderful. I really enjoyed her as a character.
Well, Gary, it's your turn now. What have you been playing? I know we've played one game that we both played, but I think Sociable Soccer I've only played a bit of. So what have you been up to?
Well, Sociable Soccer would be the first one. It's just so much fun to be back in the kind of sensible soccer style football game. Cause,
do you play it top down, or do you play it the side angle?
Top down.
Okay.
I can't play it side. It's just that's not the way.
You can't kill the shots, can you?
No, it's just not. It's not the same.
Well, I feel you should tell people what this is, because I know that in the games media, as it were, we know what most games are, but I don't know that many people will be aware what Sociable Soccer is.
No, I don't think they will. I mean, it's basically a spiritual sequel, I suppose, to Sensible Soccer, like the old sort of Amiga, Mega Drive, that kind of era football game, which was just, I mean, it's over the top. not just top down. It's just it's over the top in the way it plays. It's ridiculous. You know, it's getting the ball is usually via a slide tackle, which is like half the length of a pitch kind of thing, and you know you've got names like, I mean, I can't remember, like
Petr Cech's one's good because it's like Peter Cash.
Yeah,
that's one that stands out.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like, I mean, the old ones, it was stuff like Peel Once for Paul Ince and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid names, but it's exactly what the game is. You could make your own teams and stuff like that, and they'd have like the custom ones, which were bonkers.
Yep.
I mean, this one's only like early access, so some of that isn't available.
Quite early too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot missing. Stuff like the creation stuff is missing. There's a manager mode that's coming into it. The AI is shocking. I mean, I think, I mean, I can't remember how long I've played it, but in however, like, quite a significant amount of games, I've only conceded one goal, and that was kind of my own fault. And I've been winning games sort of like 8-9-0 because it's just so easy to get round the dumb AI, and the keepers are useless. I mean, they pretty much can only jump up, so if you hit it and just curl it a bit, they've got no chance. But having said that, being in early access, it's one of the things they've said straight away that it's like the one thing that they want to sort first is the AI and goalkeepers.
Fair.
But I mean, the amount of teams in it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like, what, over 1,000 teams, is it? I think it is.
Oh, I'll take your word for it, mate. I'm not sure.
But it's basically, you know, it's like the old Sensible World of Soccer, and I suppose a bit like FIFA as well, where it's like all different countries, not just like the top league either. You know, it's like going down like 2 or 3 leagues within most countries. Plus, you've got the international teams as well. So it's a massive game. It just needs a bit more adding to it.
Yep.
It's so much fun to play though.
Yeah, no,
I'm looking forward to it just being that bit more of a challenge.
Is it because it's PC early access? Is it coming to consoles eventually? It must be, right?
Yeah, it is. I think it's PS4, Xbox One. I think they've even said Switch as well.
Would make sense. I mean, it seems like an ideal Switch game. It's just not going to challenge the machine, is it?
No. I mean, I think they've said their aim is to finish this by April on the PC.
April?
I think so. I'm sure they said... Actually, it might be March. Well, it's not long anyway. They're aiming to get it done by then, and then once they've done that, the console versions will follow. But I don't know whether that means they're already being made and it's a case of it's just a quick job to finish them up, or whether it's once the PC's finished, they've got to start the other versions. But either way, I'm guessing at some point next year it'll be on consoles, and I'm looking forward to that as well. Especially after that Dino Dini one.
Yeah.
That was dreadful.
Christ.
Less said about that one, the better.
Indeed. What else have you been playing, he says, looking at the list ready for this one?
Yeah, the unfortunate one.
Hang on. Right. Okay, now all three of us are old enough to have played the original Bubsy, or maybe haven't done it, but we all remember it, right?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Now...
I don't at all, actually.
I'm going to be the one that says this then. At the time, I liked that game.
Yeah. No, I liked Bubsy.
Okay.
It was never challenging.
It was never Mario.
Sonic, but yeah,
it was all right, that game. It was difficult, but it was all right. Okay?
It was just one of those games that, I don't know who wanted to bring out a new one.
Apparently, Accolade.
It wasn't exactly a big game at the time.
No.
And not that many people know about it. So the fact that they've made this sequel just seems a bit odd. And I mean, I'll say now, the gameplay itself isn't that bad. It's just very average. And the presentation's alright, but it's just, I don't know, it's just... there's just something not there. It feels like...
Well, it sounds like there's not much game there from what I've heard.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, what was it, less than an hour? It took me to
Really?
get through the entire... Yeah. It was that thing, you've got like your...
Isn't it 30 quid?
Yeah, I think it's 26 quid, 25 quid, I think it is.
And it's an hour long?
Yeah, I mean, that is just going A to B. But, I mean, the extra content there isn't really worth it, because it's just like each level has a number of yarn balls to collect. And they have like a vault that you can unlock by collecting keys, which are like hidden around the level. And essentially you have to get all those keys to be able to unlock the vault, which has the rest of the yarn balls in to get the full amount. But when it's only like, 13 levels I think it is,
Jeez.
there's not much extra to it. And to be honest, there's nothing really compelling you to go back and do it unless you're the type that just has to, you've got that mental thing that says I must collect everything. And I'm not one of those people, and I just
not in a fucking Bubsy game.
No. I mean, I had no desire to go back whatsoever. I mean, I went back and got quite a few bits, but obviously just for review purposes. But I mean, yeah, not the best game, especially not releasing it now. I mean, that was you're releasing a game like that vastly overpriced without the content.
That's a lot of money.
The price seems really odd.
Yeah.
What do you think the rationale behind that is?
I don't.
Bearing in mind, I can't even remember it.
You got to gouge those Bubsies fans. Those hardcore Bubsy fans. Got to gouge them.
Maybe that was it. They just thought there's only a few of them. If we make them pay more, we'll get a decent amount back.
It cost us $5,000 to make, so if we can make that back quickly, then it's a literal cash grab.
Sorry, that's proper tickle with that.
Yeah, but I mean, you're releasing it like basically at the same time as Mario.
And Sonic Forces, Gary, of course.
Yes, and Sonic Forces, which isn't a bad game.
Yeah, all right, very funny. Yeah, come on.
No, genuinely,
No, come on. Let's not.
It's.
We've all had a drink.
I've enjoyed it quite a lot.
I've had a cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a glass of water.
And even I've been talking rock, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I've seen this game in action. Come on.
I went into it with, I suppose, low expectations. Although,
be honest, no expectations.
Yeah, but then again, I did play Sonic Mania.
Yeah, but that's a different. Nah. I mean,
but
why do they do this, Gary? Why do they put Sonic Mania out, which is a game where everyone goes, oh, well, this is just an old Sonic game. It's really good, and then go, well, we can't have people liking him for too long.
I don't know. I think it's unfair. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff like that people have been saying about this game, and I've not seen any of it.
But he shouldn't talk, Gary. Sonic shouldn't talk.
Oh, no. I mean, that's why they've got the little Sonic. The old Sonic,
the little fat Sonic.
He doesn't speak.
Okay, yeah, no, he's retro Sonic. Don't speak. No.
Yeah, I mean, the stories in the new Sonic games, there's the shit, aren't they? Basically, there's no point to them, and I'm gonna go on record as saying that there hasn't really been a good 3D Sonic yet, or at least no more than like a 6 or 7.
Okay,
it's just. Sonic doesn't work that well in 3D because of the speed.
Yep.
Like Mario, it's easy because
yep.
He's Mario. He just runs at a normal pace and he's just moving around normal. But when you've got a character that's based around running faster than any other creature alive kind of thing, yeah, putting him in 3D just doesn't really work that well. But I think they have worked around it quite well in this one. Yeah, it's basically Generations 2. There's no other way to put it. I mean, it is anyway, because the whole reason you've got the retro Sonic coming in is just because he was in the first one. I think, they even kind of make a little reference joke to it.
Right.
Where he says it's generations since I last saw you, kind of thing. You're like, yeah, good one.
But that's not a good one, is it though, Gary? Come on.
No, it's not.
That's not a good joke.
It's a terrible joke, but
yeah, okay.
I suppose it's a dad joke more than anything.
That's unfair. I'm a dad, and I wouldn't tell that joke.
I don't know. I've heard you may say some bad words.
No, hang on. I'm not. Listen, I didn't make it. I didn't make this game. But lash out.
But no, I haven't. I've really enjoyed this game. Like, way more than I expected. It has some issues. I mean, again, the speed is one of them. Because in some of the levels, you've got a boost button which makes him go even faster anyway. And sometimes you're like, oh, I'll use this boost, I can get on it. It's like, no, because the point where you've just jumped and then boosted is a point where you weren't supposed to jump because you were supposed to hit a spring which you couldn't really see because you were going that fast. And then it's like, oh no, back to the beginning of the level or the checkpoint, that kind of thing. But, I don't know, still, it looks really nice. You know, as all Sonic games tend to do. Well, at the time anyway. The level design is pretty good for the most part. And it's got a quite a nice feature where you've got like an SOS thing as well. Where you can go back and you're kind of helping other people, and sometimes you've got to save someone, like, you know, in the old ones where you had the little, or rather big kind of containers filled with animals, you know, you jump on the top and the bottom. Sometimes some levels they have them, and you've got to get to that and then finish a level. Others it's just finish a level, and it's going back to levels you've already done. And it's quite fun. You unlock extra things for your character creation as well, which again isn't as bad as I expected. I mean, some of the creations you can come up with are like nightmare fuel or just 100% derp, but it's, I don't know, I liked it.
Okay.
I went through the whole game and I enjoyed it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, like, just not the head, going with the heart, I enjoyed this almost as much as I enjoyed Sonic Mania. That was something I never expected to say.
I mean, I might have to cut this. I don't know that can go out officially, but I mean, listen.
I'm still reeling, to be honest, Adam. There's this here from Gary, and the fact that he thinks Titanfall 2's bad. I think there's no hope for it.
I never said it was bad. I just said the platforming wasn't good.
And he doesn't like The Last of Us.
Oh my god.
Again, I replayed it and I did say I enjoyed it more the second time round.
I mean, listen, you can only be honest. That's all we ever ask. Jesus. Right, yeah, all that really remains to do now is to say thanks very much to people for listening and remind people that Nicola can be found on Twitter at wavy_gravy. That's WAVEY_GRAVEY.
Indeed.
Chris isn't here. That's not good. I'm reading off a sheet. He's still not here. Gary can be found at Blue Fury 47. Blue spelt the way you'd expect. Fury spelt the way you'd expect. No extraneous E's there. And I'm at Jeebusef, and of course at God is a Geek. And you know what? Sod it. Chris is at First Avenger 83. Thank you very much for listening. You can find us on godisageek.com, on youtube.com/godisageek, on Twitter at godisageek, on Facebook at godisageek. And patreon.com. If you go to patreon.com/godisageek and feel like dropping $1 a month, you will get this podcast 24 hours or more early. It will be slightly longer because if you're listening to this and you aren't a Patreon, you'll have missed some absolute gold, some genuine award-winning level, you know, some award nominationing of podcast. Yeah, that's about it for this week. Gary and Nicola, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
And we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye bye.